All right. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Is it good?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. So today I'm mainly going to be covering problems and problem solving, pricing for your services or whoever you're working with, different processes that you can leverage in order to get better results for yourself and for your clients. Going over Twitter a little bit as a platform and who's on there, how you can leverage it to grow your own personal brand as well as your client's personal brand. And then basically going a little bit deeper on who you can actually work with. And maybe if we have time, we'll talk a little bit on cold calling and the benefits when you're targeting larger B2B companies, right? So most of this, it'll probably be with my hands. But if I if I need to open up the whiteboard, I'll do that. So let's start with problem solving, right? So a lot of people, and I'm sure you guys already understand a few different ways of solving problems, especially when it comes to, hey, Andy, what's up? We're just getting started. So topics, the first topic is problem solving. And you guys, the main thing I want all of you to understand as growth specialists for a business, whether we place you in a business or whether you find businesses by yourself, the main thing to us to always understand when it comes to problem solving is they're paying you to solve their problems, right? And if you guys remember on the delegation chart that I created for you guys, you can leverage that to solve your own problems and your client's problems. So anytime you're facing something or a certain problem with a client, don't forget to leverage that because that's going to show you or help you figure out the best way to solve that particular problem, right? So now we're going to be going over really the pricing models based on the problems that you're solving, right? And Andy, if you remember, I went over this with you a little bit today. So when it comes to different pricing models and solving different types of problems for clients, you want to charge based on the amount of value that you're providing for a client, right? So if you're trying to charge a $5,000 service, $10,000, $20,000, no matter how, whatever range you're trying to charge for just your services alone as a growth specialist, yeah, you can just charge anyone until somebody says yes. But if you can create a roadmap and clearly show them why this $10,000 that they're going to be investing in you is going to give them, returns that are double, if not 10 times what they're going to be paying you, then, don't charge them. But if you can clearly create that roadmap, show them how you're going to help them go from point A, which is where they are now, to point B, which is where they want to be, there's no reason for them to not pay you apart from fear, right? And the fear is going to come from whether or not they actually trust you, if they believe you, if they truly think that you can get them a result, right? And everything I'm talking about you'll see how it kind of ties into each other. So you got problem, then you got the pricing. So next is the process, right? And the process kind of ties into problem solving. So it's the same. So I'm not gonna go on process. Now I'm gonna hit on Twitter, right? And it seems like we're going a little bit fast, but it's because I want to kind of show you guys how it's all connected. So as you're problem solving, or what problem you're helping them solve, and the price, the main thing that's going to get someone to trust you without you having to force them to trust you on a call is how much of your content that they've consumed if you're putting out content, right? Content can be video content, image content, text content, right? You don't necessarily have to create content showing your face. The type of content that you can create can be all written. It can be a blog, it can be email marketing, it can be Twitter, it can be even Instagram. You don't have to necessarily show your face. But if you're on platforms that push for you to be that focus more on text and written content instead of visual and video content, Twitter is one of the best platforms for that. And one thing that tons and tons of creators that I've noticed recently have been doing in order to not just rapidly grow their personal brands, but it's created massive returns on their other platforms, right? Some people have used a combination of Twitter and YouTube, and their Twitter massively grew their YouTube. And so the strategy that they've been doing and that I'm also going to be implementing in my own, in our agency. Let me kind of paint the picture for you guys. That way you can see it a little bit more. Let's see. All right. Sweet. Can you guys see this entire line?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sweet.
Yeah, I can see the line, yeah.
All right, sweet. So essentially, what they've been doing, right? Let me erase the line real quick. So you have your content, which Twitter calls them tweets. And then you have the ability to, get people to reshare your content. And then you have, the comments, and then you have the likes, right? And this is called engagement, right? If you didn't know, just making it clear for everyone. And then you have, you have your regular tweets, which could be one line or one post. And then you have threads, which is like, you have your first tweet, then you have your next, then you have your next, right? And it's called a thread where you're basically storytelling or whatever you're doing in a longer form tweet post, which is just multiple tweets back to back that are all tied together. Now, the strategy that big influencers are doing it, small influencers are doing it, and they're getting massive, massive, massive returns, is leveraging engagement, giving away, you're leveraging engagement by giving away something for free, right? And it's just looping, right? So it's a constant, hey, some people will do it twice a week. Some people will do it every day. Some people will do it once a week, whatever frequency you want to do it, or if you're applying it to your client's business, whatever frequency you think is best based on the amount of free things that they have that they can give away, right? So let's say free things that they can give away. It can be a free guide, right? A free guide on something in their niche, in their space. It can be a free resource, right? Instead of a guide, it can be a resource that they can use in their business or, in their content or whatever, right? Whatever their offer is, it's just a free guide. So we have guide, right? We've got resource. And this works on all platforms, but Twitter has been seeing, crazy, crazy returns with this recently, right? And then you have a training, right? So you got free training. And then I think there might be one more. So you got a guide, you got resources, you got training, tools. So I'll put tools under resource, tools, and then unlisted YouTube videos, which they're also considered trainings. So essentially what you're doing and the way the script and copy that all of these people have been doing is, hey, if you want this free X, Y, and Z, let me see if I can type. Okay, there we go. Hey, I've just created a free X, Y, and Z, right? So you can plug in any one of these things that I've just listed. So, hey, I've just created a free X, Y, and Z. Hang on, it keeps going. Okay. If you want me to send it to you, right? Like, retweet, and comment free. And then they'll say, and I'll send it to you right away. And then they'll put something like this, must be following. for me to send, right? So this is, and when I tell you, you depending on the free guide, right? Depending on the industry, you're having tweets that are getting thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of engagement and of reshares of just follow like one guy, he said he grew from 100 to 1,000 Twitter followers in a week, and he gained like 100 something YouTube subscribers, right? And so imagine if he's doing this same strategy on a weekly basis, giving something valuable away for free and having other people that want what he has reshare his tweet into their network, right? So imagine the amounts of people that you can reach if, you know, based on the amount, like as you do this on a regular basis, let's say you're doing it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, and it's just getting shared and shared and shared by lots and lots of people. And then you're also plugging them to your YouTube and saying, hey, check out my YouTube. You know, I share or I talk about more on this and this and that, right? And this also starts conversations because these people, they're basically telling you that you're allowed to reach out to them and they're going to respond to you, right? And so some people are using automations that do this for them automatically, right? So some automations that you can leverage that whenever somebody comments the specific word, you have Tweet Hunter, and then Hype Fury. These are the best tools that I know. And then, yeah, so essentially that's Twitter. And that's what I've noticed has been working the best. And in terms of getting tons and tons of engagement, plugging something, you know, whether it's a free guide, whether it's just trying to get conversation started, whether it's sending people over to your YouTube, right? And now maybe the YouTube video is free, but you want more people to know about it. So, hey, I've just created this free training and it just so happens to be a YouTube video. You plug the YouTube video, right? Because now you're DMing it to them. So you're not necessarily putting it in the tweet, right? Because if you do that, Twitter is probably going to suppress it because they don't want, you know, people getting off the platform. So because you're sending it to them via DM, you're automatically sending them to your YouTube. And then, you know, they're all just, you know, they're being sent back to your YouTube channel. Now, this has been around for a long time, this specific strategy. I've seen people do it a year ago, right? But now it's just getting more and more viral and more popular, right? So, you know, if you're doing it or if you have a client that's not doing it and you think they should hop on it, definitely it's worth it because, you know, the returns are massive, right? And I don't think it's ever going to go away unless Twitter removes the retweet button, but which I don't think is going to happen. So, yeah, that's really it for Twitter, having a process, having a pricing, and problem solving. So next, I wanted to kind of go into just going deep on actually what you can do with a client, right? And I'll take this not with a client, but something that the way he said it is basically just going deeper on the amount of problems that you can solve for somebody, right? And I'll read it straight out of the book. That way, you know, like, because I didn't come up with it, but Alex Hormozy in his book, $100 million offers, he calls it convergent and divergent thinking, right? So in simple terms, convergent problem solving is where you take lots of variables, all known, which with unchanging conditions, and they converge on a similar answer. So in terms of math, you have 3 salespeople who can each take 100 calls per month. It takes 4 calls to create 1 sale, including no-shows, right? So you would need to get 110 sales, right? So how many salespeople must you hire based on that math? Basically what he writes down is you have 1 salesperson, 100 calls. So that means you need 4 calls in order to close 1, meaning you need 100 calls, 4 calls per close, 25 close per 100 calls, 25 close per rep. And then the goal is 110 sales divided by the total amount of sales reps you have, which is 25 sales rep, which is going to give you 4.4. Since you can't hire 4.4 people, you would need to hire 5 people, right? So, and since you have 3, you would need to hire 2 more, right? What he's basically trying to say right here is don't just try to solve a problem one way. Let's say you don't know who to work with, who to target, who to talk to. Try to solve it, like instead of looking at it linearly, look at it laterally, right? Just like when it comes to scaling a business, you can scale upwards, you can scale this way, you can scale in all directions, right? Like let's take Apple, for example. Apple first, I think it was phones, but apart from phones, they went into computers. Then they went into um then they went into AirPods, right? Then they went into what else do they sell? I'm trying to think. Like literally, each one of their products has been them tapping into something else, right? And they're in the future, I think they're planning to go into cars, which is like instead of just keep going up, they want it to go this way now, meaning there's more money so that they can scale this way instead of just scaling this way, which they'll be limited, right? If they only went that way, they'll be limited. But because they're tapped into a vertical avenue and a horizontal avenue, it allows them to scale, you know, massively in a new direction that most companies can't scale in, right? That's why you see companies like Samsung or companies like Sony, they have a product in almost every industry when it comes to technology. Like they have cars, they have cars, they have phones, washing machines, laundry machines, refrigerators, they have AirPods, headphones. They have all these different products, but they stay in this, they're still in the tech industry. But the difference is they drop the product in so many different areas. I might be losing some of you because I'm speaking on a much like higher term. But essentially what I'm trying to say is as you're trying to solve a problem for a client, don't just look at it in one direction, right? Like if they're trying to go, like if there's three roads, right, and they're all blocked, you don't want to complain and say that you can't go to all the roads because they're all blocked. Literally just figure out another way to get around, go over or go under in order to get to that same end result. So that's kind of the picture I was trying to paint. I might have lost some of you with what I was referring from the book. Um, but yeah, I see there's two comments. iPads. Yep. And then George says, what if their problem being told to you? Is that George?
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay, okay. What if their problem being told to you just can't understand that questions would you ask to dig deeper? Um, Rephrase that.
So let's say a client comes to you and they're telling you a problem and you just
Mhm,
really don't understand the problem.
mhm.
What would you ask to actually get an understanding?
The root cause of
You
the
know what I
problem,
mean?
basically.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, hopefully you guys can, I mean, I'll just erase this. That way I can just draw something new. But before I erase it, is there any questions on this stuff right here, specifically on all this stuff?
Just before you move on, you mentioned something just before you started this about the delegation chart. Is that something that's on Notion or is that?
Yeah, it's on Notion. It's gonna be under, let me pull it up. That way
Just
I can
wasn't sure
just,
if it was something that I'd missed in one of the calls.
yeah, it's in Notion and let me open it. It's under four. Let me, it's not letting me open it on my phone. Hold up. Okay. It's under 4 point. It should say something about problem solving. Um, Let me see.
System solution roadmap.
Yep, 4.3, system solution roadmap. And then you should be able to download it to your computer or to
Ah,
your
okay.
phone.
Okay, I just didn't know you could download these things. Okay. Just download it as an image. Oh, I've got it. Excellent. Thank you.
Sweet.
Question
And then
asked.
you sweet. And then you can watch the video. It goes over it.
Okay,
Sweet.
okay.
All right. Daniel, you said so Notion is a roadmap making. What do you mean?
Like, how do we make a roadmap to like show them? Like, I've seen you like use this like a program before, like to like make like a list and like charts and like whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
So
is
you
that
want to know what tools to use to make those roadmaps?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll list a few of them right now in the Zoom chat. That way you guys can save them. So you've got Miro, which is the one that I use to create that specific the system solution roadmap. You've got Lucid. I'll put the website Miro.com, lucid.app, and then you've got
Because the funny thing is like I can interact with your whiteboard. It's actually really cool.
yeah, Zoom lets you do that. You can also do it on Zoom. Sometimes on my sales calls, I'll draw on Zoom and I'll say like I'll point A to point B, I'll say, point A, point B, right? I say this is where you are right now. I'll draw all the little X's, and then I'll say this is where you want to be. I'll draw check marks, and then I'll say this is how I bridge the gap. And then I say you are not missing this. This is what you're missing. I circle it. I ask them what they think, and then they'll typically paint the picture, and they'll be like, "Huh, you're so right." And then, we just move on from there. But yeah, do you guys see the chat? Miro.com, lucid.app, and Figma. I don't know the website for Figma, but I know it works just as those. And what else you can use is I think Apple, they have an app called Freeform now. Like it's built into your phone and your desktop. It's called Freeform. So yeah, George, to get to your question, now is there any other questions before I move on?
Yeah. Okay, so which website is like the system making website, and do you have to pay for it?
All three of them, oh well, the ones I use is Miro and Lucid. They're free, but obviously it's limited when it's free, but literally you can use one board and just erase it every time. They're not going to worry about you erasing it. But basically they'll charge you once you want to have multiple different boards. So let's say you have multiple clients and you want to have a separate board for each client, then you're going to have to, pay for Pro, but it's pretty cheap. I think it's like 10, 12, 15 bucks per month per platform. So literally they're all free. You can use them to just mind map by yourself or for clients. And then when it comes time to actually, let's say if you really desperately want to use the better stuff, then yeah, you can pay for it. But essentially you don't need to pay for it, right? But I paid for it because I just wanted all the features. So George, let me get to your question, right? So you stated that how do you ask them to go deeper, or how do you actually get to the root cause of the problem? So the way I go about doing that, let's say this is the problem, right? Or no. Let's say the problem, all of them, George, they all do it. What do you mean by, hold on. I'll get to you after. All right. So let's say this is the goal, right? This is the roadmap to their goal, whatever it is, whatever they want to happen, whatever they want to do. Let's say the problem is here and they're constantly, or maybe it's a problem you've never thought of that would happen, right? Let's say something crashes and you just don't know what to do. For you to get to the root cause of that problem, I would suggest retracing your footsteps, number one, or starting all the way back from square one and being like, okay, let's walk through the process and see where the problem came up. If let's say any problem, right? Let's say something went wrong in their sales funnel, but you don't know at which stage, if it's the top, if it's in the middle, if it's at the bottom, right? What you would do is start from the top. Because let's say people are opting in, but none of their applications are coming through. Okay, well, why is that? And then when you actually start at the top and you go to the application, you fill in the application and you see that the next page is just a blank page. Okay, now you know that every time all those people that just submitted an application, you know that, dang, all those people weren't actually being sent to your call booking page. They were just being sent to a blank page, right? So really, to dissect the problem at the root cause is to, number one, either retrace your footsteps or start all the way back from the beginning, or seek help from someone that can actually help you, whether they know the problem or literally there's no real other options because yes, your client is paying you to be the solution to everything, but that does not mean they're going to have a problem with you looking for answers elsewhere as long as they know that you put in the work to actually get the answer for them. Because, just like I'm helping you guys, I still have to learn in order to provide new things for you guys, right? So in the same way, your clients expect you to come with solutions to all their problems so that anytime they have a problem, they're expecting you to be the one to solve it for them, right? No matter if it's at the beginning of working with them, if you've been working with them for months, if you've been working with them for years, they're still going to have that expectation. And the way you resell them every time is by being able to solve their problems and just making it a habit of problem solving, right? Because for me, it comes naturally, right? I'm always trying to solve problems. So for me, I'm naturally wired to just, okay, I have a problem. Let me try and fix it. Some people aren't wired that way, right? So does that kind of make sense, George?
Yeah. So the faster you get to the solving the problem, usually the better you can sell it to them.
Exactly.
Well, sell the illustration. Okay. Yeah, it makes more sense. So how do you do it faster then? How do you solve problem? Is this a system that obviously you probably follow?
This is what I've always followed ever since I was a kid. Like no
Hmm.
matter what, if I lost something, that's a problem. Okay, let me retrace my steps. If
Yeah.
it's something that crashes in a funnel, okay, let's start at the top and actually follow through. Like let's follow everything we want a customer to do. Okay, cool. That's where the problem is. Okay, let's say we're not
Hmm.
booking calls in our conversations. Okay, why aren't we booking calls? Okay, first of all, is it okay? So in the call booking process, right? So let's say this is the phone and then this is the person, right? So let's say first you got to start a conversation with them. Then you have to talk with them. Then you have to see if they have a problem that you can solve. Then you gotta highlight the problem, turn it into a pain point. Then you pitch a call, and then you've got your phone call, right?
Hmm.
So if something went wrong, right? Let's problem solve right here. Something went wrong. Where would you start?
What I last did.
Okay. So let's say the problem is you're getting here to pitching them the call, but nobody is booking in. Where would you start?
Okay. Well, maybe they can't access the call at all. So the problem with setting the meeting, you know what I mean? The booking link.
Okay.
I'll go back to there because that actually makes logical sense.
Okay. So what
Yeah.
comes before that?
Creating the link itself.
Okay. What comes before creating the link? No. Let's
Mm,
they're not booking in not because of the link. They're not booking in because they're not interested in booking in.
okay.
Where would you start to solve that problem?
But I would ask them if they're actually interested or if there's a problem with the link or anything.
Okay. So you start with conversation,
Yeah.
right? And then you have
So those are the two answers I would normally think it is.
okay.
Either they're not interested or it's a problem with the link. But
Okay.
I,
Highlight
I'll
problems.
probably have to dig deeper to understand the problem.
Oh, 100%, right? So I'm about to show you where I would start. Let me
Hmm.
label all the points first. You've got, uh,
So it's not letting me view the thingy. I'm gonna join. I'm gonna leave and join back. All right.
all right. Is anybody else having trouble seeing it? Nope. Okay. Sweet. I know he's on his phone, so that might be why. Initiating conversation, highlight problems, and then all right. Can you hear me now,
All right.
George?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, sweet. So initially, you mentioned that you would start by, you know, how you're pitching it to them, right? And what else did you say?
Uh, if the link, there's a problem with the link.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the problem is people aren't booking in, right?
Yeah.
So where I would start personally, and when I say trace it backwards, it's either you trace backwards, right? So you can start with the pitch. Okay, how did we make the pitch? Okay.
Mhm.
And then did we highlight the problem? Did we have
Yeah.
a good conversation? Was it an actual conversation or was it just me talking the whole time? Right. Then we
My
have how did I start the conversation? Right. Then who am I speaking with? Right.
where
So
they're from,
say again.
where they're from as well. That's very important because some
Exactly.
people can't book in the right times you want. So you would have to verify the time they're planning on booking as well.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
now let's say we started at the top of the funnel, right? Are
Yeah.
we actually speaking to the right person that's interested in what we're offering?
Yeah.
So now, is that good, bad? Okay, yes, we are talking to the right person. Okay, good. All right. How are we starting the conversation? Okay, we have a good opener. All right. Are we actually qualifying them? Do we know they want this? Do we know that they actually have a need for our services? Yes. Okay. How is the conversation? Okay, the conversation's good. Okay. But now we failed. Let's say we failed to highlight the problem. That's where the issue is.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know next time we need to actually highlight the problem before we pitch the solution. Because now that we've highlighted the problem, showing them that, hey, this thing that you're doing right now is giving you the results that you're getting. So if you actually did it this way, you would get much better results. Does that make sense? Does that, yeah. Okay. Well, now you go into your pitch, right? And then if a problem comes after you've made the pitch and they say, yes, send me the link, now you want to go into checking the link, into checking the site, into checking the application form, into checking, whatever else comes after, right? So essentially, when you're solving whatever problem comes up, either you go backwards or you start from the beginning. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes complete sense. Thank you.
Sweet, sweet. Anybody else before I get to Daniel's question? Byron? All right, sweet, sweet. So Daniel, you said so which website is the system making one, right? You're on mute, Daniel. Daniel, you there?
Yeah. Hold up. Yeah. I already found it. It's micro.
All right. It's Miro and Lucid. So
Lucid. What's the difference?
let me show you guys right now. Let's see. And it comes down to and which one you prefer. So we've got Lucid and then we've got Miro. Let me share my screen. All right. So we've got Miro, then we've got Lucid, right? Lucid has a few different ones, right? As you can see, I've got a few of them here. Let me pull up a good one that I have. Okay. This one is for that I drew up for one of my old consulting offers. And then this is the solution roadmap. So you can see there's a different way, like there's tutorials that it will show you. So I'm not gonna give you guys a tutorial, but literally, I made this inside of Miro, literally just pulling things from here, right? Putting it on, and then, drawing lines from it, like just drawing lines, right? So it's nothing too complicated. It's pretty easy to understand. So with this, you can create tools for your clients, for yourselves, create templates, roadmaps for your clients, for yourselves, right? And then the main difference is, honestly, there is no real difference. It's just different softwares. Lucid they have a few different things you can have. So they have Lucid charts, then they have a different tool, which is like, I forget the name. If I go to upgrade, you'll see they have Lucid Chart, then they have Lucid Spark, and then they have Lucid Scale, which is like 3 different softwares. But Lucid Spark is just like Miro. So I think that's the main difference is Lucid gives you 3 different types of tools that you can use. And then, they combine into each other. Whereas, Miro, at least for the most part, what I see is they just have this style and you would mainly be paying for either more features or whatever. But I think Lucid gives you Miro plus more. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, but which would you think is better? Because let's say personally, I've only seen you work with Miro.
Yeah. So the main reason I use Miro now is because I'm not paying for Lucid right now. So Lucid, the disadvantage, I mean, it's the same. It's just like
All right.
you're limited with the amount of things you can do. So until you're paying for them, you don't get the best versions of either. So honestly, I use Miro. It's more fluid. And with Lucid, because I have so many things saved on here, until I start paying for it again, I can only access 3 of them.
Do we have access to these?
Yeah.
Or
So
are
see
they-
how it says view, like view only. I can't edit this, even though I made it in the past. Right. So I can't edit it. So that's like what they do is like, I could probably edit it, but it would remove my access from editing older ones. Whereas Miro, what I've been doing is just, some of them I save, but I'll just literally move to another section and just start something new. So literally you can do whatever with any of them. It's up to you, literally.
Yeah, that seems much more cleaner in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where do we have access to these?
They're in. So I sent you guys the sites if you want to use these apps. They have phone apps. They also have the computer apps. And they also have the websites. And then you have to access the board that I created. It's in Notion. So let me pull it up and share.
Is it in tools and stuff?
I haven't added it there. I can add it there, but you'll find it in 4.3 system solution.
Sound.
Let me share it that way you can see.
Okay.
All right, sweet. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Sweet. So once you guys open up Notion, let me go back. So once you open it up, I'll add it here. Like there's a few more tools there's tools here. I probably have to refresh them. Never mind. So you guys, so far, I don't think I told you guys, but so far I've added an example contract. I've added a 30-day Facebook group strategy to grow a Facebook group. And then this is a Google Sheet that you can use to track a few different things like content and appointment setting work. But essentially, there'll be more and more tools. You'll find.
One?
Say again?
Discord group growing?
The Facebook group going one is
Discord. I saw that there was an option there, but it wasn't done.
Yeah.
It's not done yet?
No, not yet. So all that stuff is gonna be under phase 4, which is content, audience, and community building. And then you'll have Facebook, Discord, and Telegram.
All right.
Yeah. George, you'll find it right here, 4.3 system solution roadmap. And then you can download it. You can download it. It's a picture, right? But you can literally upload it to Miro. So right here, there's a little download button and you can just click it and it'll download to your phone or to your computers. And then if you want me to give you guys this version, I can literally like share it, but only when it's once I've like published it, I guess. But yeah, sweet. Is there any other questions, guys?
No.
All right, sweet. All right, guys. That's really it from me for this call. Daniel, Byron, hang back for a little bit. But everybody else, if there's no more questions, talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. See you in a bit.
Sweet.